Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix race rundown on our new slot on a Monday. This will only happen on the Monday following a race weekend, so we still have our Saturday slot. Don't you worry about that. We are going to talk about everything that happened during the Grand Prix weekend and how eventful and uneventful it equally was. So let's get to it. So in first practice one, we had one driver being replaced by a reserve driver. This is because teams are required to have 2 sessions in a practice session where during the year where they put a reserve driver or just a younger driver who is not an F1 driver. How many times can I say the word driver? And let them drive a car around the track to give them a bit of experience, a feel for the drive, just so they know if they do ever make the step up to drive a real Formula 1 car, that they'll have a chance to see what it's like before they do. So in this instance, it was Ryo Hirakawa who got the call up for Alpine. He replaced Jack Doohan for the first time, and this first practice session was relatively uneventful. Nobody crashed, nothing happened bad on track, but let's get into the standings in that one. So Norris in first, Russell second, Leclerc in third, Hamilton fourth, Verstappen fifth, Tsunoda sixth, Alonso seventh, Hadjar eighth, Antonelli ninth, Sainz 10th, Albon 11th, Hirakawa 12th, Lawson 13th, Gasly 14th, Piastri 15th, Stroll 16th, Hülkenberg 17th, Behrman 18th, Ocon 19th, and Bortoleto in 20. Now first practice 2 was a lot more eventful this time because the drivers only got 20 minutes on track, whereas usually they get an hour. This is because Jack Doohan on his 4th lap spun out and crashed his car because he didn't realise, or so it said, that he didn't realise that he needs to manually turn off his drag reduction system, the DRS, manually. He assumed that it would turn off automatically or the usual way, but it just did not do that, and as a result he crashed on one of the turns. And the second time was Alonso accidentally drove a little bit on the grass, lost control, and got stuck in a gravel trap. And then 2 situations where the grass caught on fire because of the wind, and the sparks coming from the cars sort of got onto the grass, and then everything caught on fire. The grass caught on fire, and they had to stop the race. So there were 4 red flags, and we only got about 20 minutes of actual driving. So that was just a stop-start situation on track. So the standings for FP2 are Piastri, Norris, Hadjar, Hamilton, Lawson, Russell, Leclerc, Verstappen, Gasly, Sainz, Albon, Hülkenberg, Bortoleto, Ocon, Behrman, Antonelli, Alonso, Tsunoda, Stroll, and Doohan. On to FP3, which was on Saturday, and this was also full of craziness as 2 more fires broke out. No crashes though, but the practice was interrupted due to 2 more grass fires, which was annoying. This was very early on in UK time, so a lot of people were probably not awake to actually witness that and were having to watch it back after the fact. But the standings are Norris, Piastri, Russell, Leclerc, Verstappen, Hamilton, Albon, Gasly, Tsunoda, Hadjar, Sainz, Lawson, Antonelli, Doohan, Alonso, Behrman, Bortoleto, Ocon, Stroll, and Hülkenberg. So off to quali now, and there was another grass fire during this time, but also there was a slight incident where at one point Sainz signs affected the ability for Hamilton to do and finish his lap in Q2, and as a result he was given a penalty, a three-place grid penalty for the race as a result of impacting another driver to be able to complete his drive. But the standings were, and this is where it all turns around: Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Russell, Antonelli, Hadjar, Hamilton, Albon, Berman, Gasly, Sainz, Alonso, Lawson, Tsunoda, Hülkenberg, Bortoleto, Ocon, Doohan and Stroll. Now we're off to the race, where not many things changed from qualifying, apart from there were no grass fires because it rained in the morning on the Sunday. So as a result of that, Suzuka is quite a tight road considering how big the cars are, so there was very limited overtaking. The only eventful thing that happened was when Verstappen and Norris were coming out of the pits on lap 22. Norris tried to sort of overtake Max at the earliest moment, and it didn't go very well, and he ended up having a very expensive lawnmower sort of situation where he just cut on the grass and lost a bit of time there and did not end up overtaking Max. So the race results were: we have a new winner for 2025, Verstappen, followed by Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Russell, Antonelli, Hamilton, Hadjar, Albon, Berman, Alonso, Tsunoda, Gasly, Sainz, Doohan, Hülkenberg, Lawson, Ocon, Bortoleto and Stroll. So now let's talk a little bit about what happened right before the race, shall we? And what happened was, and it was a bit of an awkward situation, and it is an awkward situation to talk about, but Carlos Sainz was late to the Japanese national anthem, and the FIA takes that very seriously because they want to show respect to the hosting country, and as a result of him being late, he's facing a fine that he has to pay. And the reason why he was late was because he was having some stomach issues. This was backed by a doctor who was aware that he was having stomach issues, and as a result that's why he was late. So originally it looks like the fine was going to be 60,000 euros to have to pay, but they brought it down to 20,000 euros as a result of the considerations that it was that he had a reason, but still they have to go along this whole scenario of it's still a rule break, so we have to penalise you for that. But that's it for the eventful things that happened before and after the race. Let's go on to the side stuff. So this race was pretty uneventful, very sort of boring. Nothing really happened. The first practices from all sessions and qualifying was much more exciting than the race itself. But what I realised in my Chinese Grand Prix review is that I didn't tell you the drivers or the team standing, so I'll just go through that for first China and then Japan. So in the driver standings, Lando Norris is still in first place with 44 points, followed by Verstappen in 36, Russell in 35, Piastri in 34, Antonelli 22, Albon 16, Ocon 10, Stroll 10, Hamilton 9, Leclerc 8, Hülkenberg 6, Berman 4, Tsunoda 3, Sainz 1, Hadjar, Gasly, Lawson, Doohan, Bortoleto and Alonso 0. And that's the driver's order for China. And then the team orders is McLaren with 78, Mercedes with 57, Red Bull with 36, Williams with 17, Ferrari with 17, Haas with 14, Aston Martin with 10, Sauber with 6, Red Bull Racing Bulls has 3 and Alpine is on 0. And now the drivers for the Japanese Grand Prix: Norris 62, Verstappen 61, Piastri 49, Russell 45, Antonelli 30, Leclerc 20, Albon 18, Hamilton 15, Ocon 10, Stroll 10, Hulkenberg 6, Behrman 5, Hadjar 4, Tsunoda 3, Sainz 1, Gasly, Alonso, Lawson, Doohan and Bortoletto on 0. And the teams: McLaren with 111, Mercedes with 75, Red Bull with 61, Ferrari with 35, Williams with 19, Haas with 15, Aston Martin with 10, Racing Bulls with 7, Kickstarter with 6, and Alpine still 0.